Hello and welcome to the Solve to Evolve podcast. My name is Philip. This is the fellow solvers. On my right, we've got Chris. On my left, we've got Jono. And so the purpose of this podcast is really to share our insights, knowledge to taxpayers and businesses to help them learn and grow. Now, in today's first episode, we just want to introduce everyone to the solvers. Who are we and why we decided to become accountants. So I'll start off first. Chris, what made you decide to become an accountant?
Well, I think, Phil, I've always been interested in numbers and investment. And since I was young, my dad used to read books on money, and I guess that kind of flowed down to me. Later on, I became interested in property investment, and just one thing led to another. I found myself in an accounting degree at university and really enjoyed it, and that's why I became an accountant.
Yeah, there's not much people that enjoy accounting except for us, right? So, no, that's good. Well, thanks. That way. Thanks, Chris. What about you, John? What made you decide to become an accountant?
Yeah, well, there was really no one in my family that had that kind of background, so I kind of fell into accounting. I was at uni doing an arts degree and working at KFC. Yeah. And then one of my mates was doing a cadetship in an accounting firm, and I thought that sounded pretty good to get paid and study at the same time. So on a whim, I went onto the CA website, the Chartered Accountants website, put out some applications, and I got one interview and had that interview and got the job at Clarence Street in the city. Nice. So, yeah, started out at a small business services firm, and it was really from that point that that changed. Yeah, that changed the trajectory, like introduced me to business, investment, finance, accounting, and I switched my degree after that to focus on commerce. Yeah. So, yeah, that was it, man.
Very nice, very nice.
How about you, Phil?
Yeah, I guess similar to you guys. I like yourself, John. I got into a cadetship, but that jumping back, really it was just based on my childhood, right? So, growing up in a single mother household, I was raised to my mum always told me that money doesn't grow on trees. So, to me, I always knew or had that financial control and discipline to want to get into business to earn money for the family. And so I think when I was 17, 18, I was working at Toys R Us, and then same as you, someone said something about a cadetship, and I was like, you know what, this could be my chance. Go to uni, get a job whilst studying and getting paid. And the rest is history. So you could say I was kind of destined to become an accountant, really. So that's it.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, that's a little bit about us. Let's stop talking about us. Why don't we talk about Solve, the brand? So, Solve was incorporated, I think, in 2010, Chris. You are the founder. Can you tell us what made you decide to start Solve?
Yeah, that's right. It was back in 2010, Phil, that we incorporated a company to act as an incorporated accounting practice and tax agency. And at the time, it was really natural because I was, like I said before, I started investing in properties and started talking to people about it, and they started talking to me about it. And one thing led to another, and I had quite a few people who were asking me to do tax work for them personally. And then that expanded to their family groups, then to their operating companies. And so it just grew organically out of what I was naturally doing, really. And that's kind of the genesis of the firm.
Right, so that was in 2010, but I remember we were working at BDO together at that time. So I guess when did you go full time to Solve?
Yeah, so I think it was like in 2015 or 2016 that I stepped out of job. I stepped down from tax job in the city to kind of 4 days, then 3 days a week. And then I was, as Solve was winding up on the site. And I believe it would have been in probably 2015 or around there where you and I started talking seriously about onboarding yourself, but you had international ambitions at the time.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in 2015, I think it was, we were working together for a good year in a team back at BDO, and I think at the time I was leaving and going to London to chase the chase waterfalls, really. And I said to you on the side, Chris, I'm going overseas. I'm going to start my own accounting firm because I know that, you know, in 4 years' time or whatever years' time, I'm going to come back and run my own business. And so I think you said, you know what, why don't you just join Solve? It's ready to go. Just join, right? So I thought to myself, you know what, you're right. I don't have to do any forms, apply for anything, just start working. And so that's, you know, I guess the rest is history, right? So that's when I joined on. And I mean, look, at that time I was working overseas, doing a job in the UK, traveling, but also doing a couple of hours a night at Solve. So that took a lot of my time. And you were feeding me a lot of work. And at that point I was like, Blocks, man, you gotta stop, man. I can't do this, right? That's when I actually started wearing glasses because of that. Just working overtime. So thanks for that.
Destroyed your eyes.
Yeah, thanks for that. So, yeah, so then it wasn't until, I think, 2019, you were hounding me to come back. I think that was 4 years. I said to you, hey, I'm only going to be away for the 1 year. But that one turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into 4. And I think I remember you calling me on the phone and saying, Phil, when are you coming back, man? We need to start this thing, right? So I remember that quite vividly. And 2019, I came back and yeah, man, the Solve has, you know, it's grown to where it is now, which is amazing. And tracked down to 2021, we had Jono come on board. Jono, why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it was kind of similar to Blocks here, I guess. I was working in a Big Four firm, and it really started in March 2020 when we got sent home because of COVID and lockdowns. It was, you know, it was a pretty challenging time. So I had 2 young kids at the time. My wife was working in professional services as well. So we're both kind of under pressure in that time, and just really felt like being in that environment, I wasn't building something for myself. Like I wasn't building an asset that could, you know, maybe eventually benefit the family, be sold, or bring the generational family into the business, which is, you know, really what I wanted with that level of demand being placed on me. I wanted to build something, and yeah, I had conversations with Chris. So, you know, we worked. Well, my wife worked in the same team as you, so you guys kept in touch. We stayed in touch. A similar thing, like you had a family barbecue over at our place in Forest Lodge, actually, just around the corner. And, you know, you were encouraging me to think about stepping out, starting my own practice. So I kind of got the brain ticking. And then it was in March 20 that kind of set off that decision process to go, man, I want to leave, like within 12 months. And, you know, it was kind of a spiritual thing as well. I felt led and called to do it, to be a business owner. And yeah, that point came in July 2021. So I didn't have kind of a phase up and phase down. I had some family and friends, clients on the side that I was doing. And after that, I just took a leap of faith and joined Solve full time, just went for it. And it's been great fun since then.
Well, look, I think you've smashed it out of the park, and I guess we could say all 3 of us just wanted to get out of that rat race, right? Get that financial freedom, be able to make our own decisions, and just be able to have that work-life balance. Because as you know, we get churned in the bigger firms, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Chris, let's talk about it, our Solve branding, right? So this came about 10 years ago. Tell us a bit about the Solve brand itself, how you came up with the name, and also how you came up with the logo design.
Yeah, so credit really has to go to an absentee today. The guy's name is Mark Cassell. We were working together in a team again at BDO, and Mark's, even though he's trained in corporate finance and accounting, he really had a knack for marketing. And the word Solve was selected because it's got a special meaning to accountants. There's a lot of meaning in the logo. So Solve to an accountant means solvency. It means the ability to form a solution, but to us a financial solution to some kind of complex problem. you'll notice that the colour of the logo is green. So green's an important colour because green implies growth, like green shoots, grass, plants, like that it's vibrant. It's also, to an accountant, we have management accounting rules that one of them deals with traffic light reports. So the green is a go.
Yeah.
So it's also a subliminal call to action.
Yeah.
But probably the most important part is Biggie's song "Juicy."
Yeah.
Mark,
good song.
Mark always wanted to be an accountant because of a line in that song that says it's something about a phone bill being $2,000 flat. No need to worry. My accountant handles that.
Yeah,
and Mark knew that as an accounting nerd, the only way he was ever going to be able to hang out with the cool kids was to become an accountant. So there's a line in that song that deals with a money green leather sofa. I think we've actually got a clip of it. Okay, Tommy, Tommy's the producer's just behind the screen. Have you got that clip that you can play?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll play that section from Biggie now.
Excellent.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. 50-inch screen, money green leather sofa. Got two
Money green leather sofa.
With the chauffeur. Phone bill about 2G's flat. No need to worry, my accountant handles that.
There you go.
Excellent. How good is that?
So I actually looked up the colour US dollar bill money green, but it turns out, unsurprisingly, that it's patented. So I actually wanted it to be that green colour because the greenback is the world's dominant currency as well. So we couldn't use that green colour, but we've used another green colour. And you'll see as well, a few years ago, which was a couple of years after we started the firm, we did a bit of work on the logo and we came up with a Rubik's Cube as well. That cube is quite important. The Rubik's Cube is a puzzle. It's a complex problem that everybody in the world knows about the problem, but only very few people know how to solve it. So if you actually deconstruct a Rubik's Cube to understand how it's built, it's built around a core and it's got a number of arms going out.
Yep.
If you can understand how it's built, you can build an algorithm to solve it. So how understanding the core of something basic, you can actually manipulate it to get the outcome that you want. That's why the Rubik's Cube is there, and it's got a green equals sign on it. A reason why it's got a green equals sign on the cube is because auditors use green pens to tick things off. For an accountant, it implies correctness. It implies that it's been reviewed. It signifies that a work paper has been looked at by someone senior in audit. So again, the green colour, the link to the green colour and the equal sign implies that it's correct. So that's a little bit of history behind the Solve logo. And then also we've got the saying underneath it, which is clients come first. That's really important too. And the reason why it's important is because too often in professional services, whether it be any professional, so legal, medical, engineering, accountants, often you get sidetracked when you're doing work. You try to impress other accountants. You're trying to impress your boss. You're trying to put together some kind of presentation for a room full of professionals. All of your energy is going into impressing other accountants, other people in the profession. That's a mistake. The people who you should be focusing on are your clients, your lifeline to solvency. They don't understand the tax law. They don't understand the accounting rules. So I wanted to impress into the brand a focus on the people who really matter, which is our clients, our lifeline to solvency. We have to firstly, and even while we're here today, like our goal is to inform our clients, not to inform ourselves, not to pat ourselves on the back, but to help our clients get a window into us, into our lives and why we do what we do. And it's all focused on making their financial lives better.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's very deep, Chris. I'm glad you explained that to everyone so they understand the brand and why we decide to join, because I think it's more than just the logo, right? Every time I'm pretty busy at work or doing X, Y, and Z, I just think, you know what, clients come first. Let's stop what I'm doing. Let me get back to the bloodline, the lifeblood of what we do, and that's servicing our clients, right? And as you said, you know, the whole point of this is to educate our client base to make sure they know exactly what they're doing or what they're getting themselves into so that we can help them. Great stuff, Chris. Anything else about the Solve logo? Sure there's no other hidden meanings?
Oh, look, I could keep going, but I think it's probably time to move on. That's right.
No, that's it. All right. Look, thank you, Future Solvers, for joining us today on the podcast, the first podcast. I hope you got some insight into each solver and why we do this and you know, the origin of Solve and the brand itself. Tune in next time for the next episode. Thank you all. If you liked or loved what you heard from us today and want to get in contact with us, please email us at podcast@solveaccounting.com.au or head to our website and fill in the contact form. Thank you and see you next time.